All right, calling the meeting back to order. I hope everybody had a good lunch. Mr. Kalka, if you can go ahead and please call the roll.
Commissioner Louis,
Present in.
Commissioner Yoshino, Commissioner Ani,
Present via Zoom.
Commissioner Yadao,
Present Hilo.
Commissioner Bath, Commissioner Alcamo, Commissioner Lopez,
Present, Kona.
Commissioner Eustace,
Present Kona.
Chair Castle.
Here, Kona.
Chair, now that we reconvene, we have 6 members back and present. I can advise you as commissioners come back to the room.
Thank you, Mr. Kalka. Mr. Eustace is in post 1.4.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. So I renamed it to 1-4 after we made some edits here. So I'll share that up here now. So this includes the edits that we made before recess. Once again, we need to fall within the deviation we're allotted, and then we have till today to turn this in. So that's our goal here. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Eustace. I'm going to open it up for discussion. I believe the last time we were talking, we're down in Council 5 and Council 6, but we'd like to reopen that conversation back up to our commissioners. Thank you.
Chair.
Mr. Eustace.
Okay, so looking at our current place here with our numbers, what we really have to tackle here is we've given something back to Council 3. So, okay, so the numbers show that Council 2, Council 3, Council 4, 5 are in the positive, and we can kind of make some adjustments there. The one district that we do have to give to primarily is Council 6. So being that Council 7 and Council 5 are adjacent in a sense of connectivity, those are our 2 targets we have to pull from. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Eustace. And then can you refresh us what is the deviation number for Council 6?
Council 6 is 20.75% under the target. So that's 4,614 individuals. So currently that population is only 17,618. And once again, our target goal is 22,232. So we need to try and get as close to that as possible.
And that's a pretty large number. Even if we decided to take 500 out of Council 7 to make that 5.99%, just spitting off of my top of my head here, we would still need to make an agreement with pushing in Council District 5, unless we move Council District 3's 2,393 people and work around the island in order for us to get into Council 7.
Yeah, we've moved some of that population away from where it needs to be, unfortunately. So we've given some back to Council 3. You know, there's some we can take from Council 2, but we're going to have to keep moving that down south. So let's see. Council 2 is still in the positive, but 940. So they're pretty, you know, we're pretty high there. So we're going to have to take from there to give to 3. 3's got to give, you know, it has to trickle down to 6. Everything has to move to our southern district here.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes, Chair, you had asked earlier, I just did the math. You wondered, what would it take to get District 6 to like 5.99? And what I figured out here is we would need 1338 to get it to negative 599. So if my math is right, we've got plenty in 3 and 5.
Okay,
So we could, I guess we could skim, if you will, from those 3, 4, 5 into 6, and you might hit it. Again, trying to hit like about 1300, 1350. I hope that helps. So just
no, I
try and
appreciate that.
throw
Thank
something
you.
in there.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. I think if that's the case, then we'll try to get so the deviation of negative 5.99 in Council District 7, just to see how that looks. I would like to, I know right here, it ends at Hokukano. So if we can use the Mauka side and not affect anything on the Makai portions.
On the western side, Chair?
Yes.
Okay, so guide me through here if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead and scroll into there, into where the Council 7 is right there. Yeah. So the original, if you want to just do the original, the line, I think right there will bring it to at least negative 5.99 deviation, I think.
And we just have to be careful of 7 though, right? Because we're,
Right.
because that was 7.
That's what I was talking about, was
Okay.
bringing 7 into a negative 5.99.
Oh, I see.
So actually, good. Can you go back real quick? So you see that 175, the 34 in
Yes.
between there. Yeah, go ahead and put that into 6, and then you can do the far left. That's Hokulia, and it attaches to Kalikakua Bay, and then right to the left of it.
These, Chair?
Yep. All right, let's scroll a little bit more up.
This is the current boundary, so if you want to keep it there,
Yeah, let's
that's a
keep
possibility.
that there. What are we at now?
So right now, Council 7 is 3.35 under.
Okay. If you scroll in a little bit more to the Halaki Street area, going north, yep, right there. You see where the old line is?
Yes,
I think there's some people there.
yep, so 35 there.
That brings us to 3.51.
Yep.
Okay, go to Captain Cook. And scroll in over here.
North?
No, south, yeah.
So, okay.
All right, and then this is the whole subdivision topic. Can you scroll into that road name there? Is that Kuya?
I can try and read those names if you need to.
Yeah.
Kiloa Road,
Kiloa
Kingroy Road.
Let's do the that 82 and then the 40. Because that's all.
Of Mauka.
Yeah, Malpa.
Okay. This next one is over here is 142. So right now, Council 7 is at 4.06 under.
4.06. Okay, so we can do another. You know what? I think we can. I'm good with this currently.
Okay,
I wouldn't want to move anything else.
you want to leave it there for now?
Leave it there for now.
Okay, should we try the
That
east
way,
side?
it doesn't affect Council District 8, because I think Council District 8 should be locked in.
So you're comfortable with leaving 7 kind of at that deficit for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you want to go target next?
so since we reduced it down here, we can try to work on the other side for Council 5 and 6 because there's a 1,200 in Council 5.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to creep into Council 5. I understand that concern, but we're gonna have to push in there. Just the way this is laid out.
Yeah.
Chair, this is Dennis. Just for the record, Commissioners Bath and Yoshina are now with us.
Thank you.
All right, so we've taken some from the west side to help out a little bit. Should we target some of this, try and capture some here in Council 5 then? Help out Council 6? All right. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so for example, I think one of the iterations we had was this more Mauka portion here. Let's see where this takes us. Okay. So we take that portion there. It puts us, Council 6 is still 12 under. Yeah, Council 3, we need to kind of shift over to because they're well over.
If we moved, instead of moving into 5, is there a way that we can move up through the northern portion without
Along the belt. Yeah,
um,
that's a possibility. I think we had some maps that would look like that where 3 connected to 6, right? So that they're like that sort of way along the highway.
I was thinking of I didn't want to take, I know Ms. Louie talked a little bit about Honolulu. And then Mr. Yoshina talked a little bit about using Wainaku as the boundary. But I was just curious of how much of a deviation is that and if it's worth pursuing. And then working your way around through the northern portion and then coming back down to Kona into Council District 6.
So try and go around the island again then.
Yeah, but I'm a little worried that we'll be doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Chair, that
Mr. Lopez.
area of, and again, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, what they might have said, but I'm just looking at the map. This upper Waikoloa Forest Reserve, is that, I mean, you've got 885 that's on the contiguous boundary of Council 6.
I'm sorry, Waikoloa Forest Reserve?
Yeah, all that.
Oh, this one.
Waikea.
Waikea.
Upper Waikea Forest Reserve, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that potential?
Let's see. So it's like it's a block group. So it if I zoom in another layer, it's basically targeting closer to Hilo.
Oh, shoot, it wraps around.
Yeah. So if I zoom out, like it's kind of this big. It's a block group, so it's a group of the census blocks.
Yeah.
It includes the Kulani prison over here on the left side, but most of the population is drawing from these residences, Mauka of
Okay.
Hilo.
Well, that's, so the 805 is not a census block unto itself?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's all this area, but a lot of these are unpopulated. It's including some of these other areas here closer to Hilo.
Chair, this is Dwayne.
Mr. Lopez, you yield.
Yes, I'm still looking at this.
Mr. Yoshina.
Okay, down on the south eastern corner where 3 and 2 come together. Down in the corner where there's a square looking thing. Yeah, right there, right there. Maybe you can move that line to include all of the that area. There's about 541 people, I guess. I'm not sure of that number, but take everything in that block and move it to Council 3, Council 5. Council 5, yeah, that block. Right.
Mr. Yoshina, you yield.
Yeah, I yield. Thank you.
Ms. Louie.
Yeah, I feel like we've revisited these several times, but I just wondered about expanding 6 into 4. I know we've talked a bit about Pahoa, and I don't know whether that would be then too many people, but if we did that, then 4 could take out of 5. 4 and 5 would be, the numbers might be better. But yeah. It looks like, I'm not sure how many people, it's not a huge number in that area down there that goes up into Pahoa. Just a thought, another district to move around.
Commissioner Bath.
Ms. Louie, do you yield?
Yeah, I yield.
Ms. Bath.
Please don't do it to District 4. Those people in that area have been through enough. They need representation. If you're going to, I'm not going to use a strong word. If you're going to be doing this to Puna, then just do it to one district. Don't do it to both districts. Don't do that to Kalapana. They need to be allied with Lower Puna. They need to be in District 4. I would rather see that them stay intact than to well, I think that it's better to just go ahead and do what you got to do, but don't do that to District 4, please.
Okay, that's fine.
Chair,
Mr. Hustis.
I think there's one thing that if we're intent on keeping with this rendition and this iteration, PTA is in 3, and we've had conversation about that, but the connectivity is an issue here because of part of District 2 comes across. As you see, it blocks access. What was it, contiguity that we were talking about?
Yeah,
Contiguity.
I think in the prior discussion, Mr. Yoshina did express it was okay to put it into Council District 2.
Okay.
But it made more logical sense because Council 3 was in also represented KMR. But Mr. Yoshina, do you want to? I know you previously discussed this.
It's okay whichever way, but command and control is centralized in Kilkaha, I think, for Puakaloa. But if you want to put it in 2, that's fine too. Thank you.
Mr. Hughes, just go ahead and put that into 2 for now.
Okay.
And then we can always adjust.
Okay, so I made that switch. PTA's in 2 now. And we've made some adjustments. So council 2 is under by 2.5%. We need to kind of tackle council 3 and try and give some of those numbers to council, get them across to council 6 somehow.
Ooh,
And Chair, this is Dennis. Again, just for the record, Commissioner Alcamo now has joined us.
Thank you, Mr. Calkin. Any commissioners have any idea they want to see?
I wish.
Well, I'm stuck. It's either it's moving council district 5 over into KL, and then moving the boundary more to the right, or it's moving everything up and around the other way. So I don't know what do you have any other commissioners that want to speak to this?
Commissioner Louis,
This Louis.
I'm just curious too, for people from Council 3, maybe Commissioner Ani, if you pushed District 6 up farther up into District 3, it's pretty empty until you get closer to Hilo. So by the time you get closer to Hilo, obviously those people relate more to Hilo. However, is there a possibility that that might have to be compromised on, or could be, like if you're going up, past the part that's not populated. Let's see. Up to Hiley Street. High Street, which is the border, but push up further along High Street and capture some of that for District 6. I don't know if that makes any sense. So right now, District 3 kind of pokes into 6, but this way 6 would kind of like poke farther up or yield.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes, again, don't want to speak sacrilege here. But looking at the map and again, I'm just looking at numbers. That whole Puakuloa area, could that be into District 6? It would take from 3 and add to 6, and you might have a pretty even, because it's like 1,500, 1,800 people. Right? No, to the go over the left. No, left. That way. Right there. See Pahakulo? That. Could that potentially be District 6?
It's over the crest of Mauna Loa, so, and since there's no population in there or connectivity, that's only the problem.
Because of the summit?
Yeah, so Mauna
Okay.
Loa Summit in this area,
All right, thank you.
but because there's no connectivity and there's no residents there, so it really is
Well, there's 1,800 and something there.
oh, that's just yeah, because I'm zoomed way out, unfortunately here. But if I zoom in, you'll see these are all mostly zeros in here. It's grabbing from the population centers on the right side here as Hilo. Yeah, I can change my zoom levels
Okay.
so you don't see them,
No, I don't see it.
but well, it's still beyond.
Damn.
So most of these are 0 in the core of the island, unless they're an odd shaped one, like this one that is Malka of Puawa, basically. But all these in the core are zeros. Yeah, so there's a connectivity issue too.
Okay. I see it goes across Saddle Road.
Yeah,
I was just looking at 1,548 on the other side of the saddle.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Meiju, again, I wonder, could you go up into the Council 3, as I was suggesting, closer to that on the other side of the High Road boundary? And right, between 2 and 5, there is right in there, there's a number of census blocks that look a little bit more rural, a little bit farther out. I don't know how many people it looks like it'd be close to 1,000 if you took the ones farther from the densely populated areas. Yeah, those parts in there.
And thanks, Commissioner. I'll defer to some of our Hilo commissioners as well, because the connectivity up here is sparse as well. To my knowledge, these residents are accessing off of the Hilo roads, and they're on the Hilo side of Panaeva Zoo. So there's cul-de-sacs that terminate up above Hilo here. Some of them don't connect with Steinbeck Road here.
Commissioner Ani.
Ms. Ani,
Yes, I think one of the bigger going that way would be the bigger problem would be that county council member would have to drive in to 2 different districts just to get to the other part of that district if it was to end up in Ka'u. High is sort of kind of the vein for Kanoilehua and Highway 19, is that Highway 11, going up into Waikiauka, and then there is actually no connection to the Steinbach Road. It comes out at the zoo, at the Paneva Zoo. So I think we might fall under that contingency that we are going to be driving out of one district and past two districts to get into the same represented district, just by environmental landscape. You're welcome.
So then that brings us back to 5.
So we have to shift this population across 5. That's, because of the connectivity with the Belt Road. And we are going to spark the ire of community members, but we do have to present something. And we just have to kind of turn in something that we can show and that we can hear about and get some feedback. And at the same time, we have to have a conversation that some of these districts are going to be looking different. We have target goals we have to match, and we can try and get as close to that deviation that we're allowed. Thanks.
Commissioner Bath.
Ms. Bath.
So for purposes of discussion, let's assume that the Puna sleeping giant awakes and comes out in numbers to the public hearing, and they say this isn't acceptable. Are we going to write them off, or are we going to change? And that's a question that I have. And if we are going to change, what is the second plan? I would have really liked to have had a choice for people throughout the island to look at, to give them an option. We're giving the people of Hawaii County one plan to look at. I thought we originally had 2. Now we've changed back to 1. And we don't have the time apparently to have a second plan. So my question is, what happens if the people in the island say this isn't okay? You're going to say, well, we need it to change. We need change, and you've got to be the ones that sacrifice. You'll be the sacrificial lamb again. That's a serious question. What do we do if there's an uprising in Puna? I yield.
Commissioner Koso?
Ms. Louie.
Well, that's a hypothetical question because we don't know what's going to happen. So we need to put out something now. And then if there is such an uprising, then we can deal with it. There's going to be, I'm sure there will be pushback from a number of different districts, and there definitely will be adjustments that we have to make. But I think we can't do that in advance by having another map. And it is, I think Diana told us last time that we really can only present 1. We were hoping to present 2, but we can't.
Commissioner Bath, I'm sorry, I guess I didn't hear that. Okay, thank you.
Chair.
Mr. Hustis.
Yeah. So Corp Council informed us that we have to present 1 final map as a draft map to the communities.
Thank you, Mr.
That's
Hustis.
still a draft.
Yeah, as long as it's still a draft. Yeah.
That's correct. It's still a draft. We're welcoming comments and feedback for the last draft, basically, and then we have to try and adjust for those changes.
Right.
And any requests that are within reason, we're still held to these numbers. And that the conversation we have to have with our neighbors and our community members is, the number is 22,232. We have to get as close to it as possible for equal representation purposes. Thank you. And how we view and see our communities, we have to adapt as best as possible, and change is always going to happen. And everything we do for this one district or another district is going to affect all the other ones. just because of, we have 9 districts, we have to carve out 9 districts. Thank you.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes, we've gone through this for so long now. I'm really not recalling how Council 3 got so out of whack from the 1-1 version. I don't know if anybody else would feel similarly, but I'd like to go back and look at the 1-1 again and see how did we get to here from that one, because that was the closest we had. Is that, I don't want to create more time, but I really don't recall how we got District Council 3 so out of whack.
Mr. Lopez requested 1.1. Mr. Hughes is pulling it up now.
And it may just be, look at the numbers here. So everything's good except Council 6. Okay, well, that's, again, I don't know how we got it out of whack, but these were, again, strictly from a numbers perspective. These look very reasonable. We just need to deal with Council 6. Thank you.
I think we're going to need to move Council 5 into where Cal was. Miss Ani, how far does Pana Eva go? No, not Pana Eva. Pana
Commissioner
Eva.
Ani,
Miss Ani, thank you.
I believe if you're looking at just the Hawaiian homesteads, it'll go up until about Makalika, which is where the Nanimau Gardens are. There's a little bit of some scattered agricultural lots, but in communicating with some of the constituents in the Pana Eva area, there was, I think, talk about the Pana Eva Canal, which actually ends at Mahi'ai Street, being a potential border, and giving part of Council 4 or 5. At this point, I think it's sorry for my confusion. I'm looking at several maps here, but I believe now it's Council 5's district in that area. And then potentially we may not be able to keep, and I'm you know, open for compromise, and I'm up for compromise and discussion. We may not be able to keep all of our Hawaiian homesteaders in the same district, but if that is the case, I'm pretty sure we will have some discussion from the public on that if we haven't already have some. But I think we can be a little bit open to some of this adjusting. I think either way we look at any of these maps, the district in dire number change is actually going to be District 6. And not so much 5 and 4 in my eyes. If we're looking at many of the maps I've seen so far, and only the 2 meetings I've been present for, it seems to collectively come back down to numbers being a massive issue for District 6. So either way, I think, you know, like Commissioner Akamu, I'm flexible. I'm open for discussion. I think, I'm the newest person on this in this canoe here, so I'm still learning, and we're very willing to be adjustable as well as to represent to the voting public in District 3 the potential for some change, and change is not always a bad thing. I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Ani.
Chair Casal. Wayne.
Mr. Yoshino.
Yeah, I think we all have to be realistic and just be prepared to take the input from the public. That's what the public hearing is all about. And then make the adjustments at that time. And yeah, Ruby, I might be hanging myself, but I would hope that the public comes out and makes itself know its positions known to us, so that we would have a better ground to draw maps that are more to their liking. I don't think we will be able to satisfy everyone, but that's the purpose of the public hearings, right? To collect the public comment.
Commissioner Bath?
Ms. Bath.
Yeah, we did have some public hearings, and I seem to recall that Puna did have the greatest voice during that. I yield.
Commissioner Casso?
Ms. Louis.
I'm not sure if this is out of order, but I was curious about the way the public hearings are going to be are held. In the original ones, of course, there were no maps, so we were just listening. But in this one, will there be an opportunity for commissioners to kind of explain what are these various questions that we've been having to deal with, and not to just defend our map, but just to say these are the constraints and this is why it looks like this at the moment? Will there be that kind of back and forth?
I don't know the answer to that question. That would be more towards Corp Counsel or the Elections Office. However, it is a little bit out of order, but I think for the purpose of giving James enough time to select some census blocks, I think we can accommodate that conversation.
Chair Casa?
Ms. Madeline Lacey.
Yeah. So, generally the purpose of the public hearing is for the public to give input. And, certainly there could be some discussion if the public has questions about things. But, as a general rule, making a lot of presentations and things like that can take away from the public's ability to participate, given that people come at different times or come on at different times, and that's really the priority. One thing that could be done if there's time is to have some kind of description with the map that may be able to be included with it, that would cover things taken into consideration or ideas that influence the map. Then that could be made available that way. But that's I wouldn't think you'd want to have a big program or anything, because you really want to, the emphasis should be on the public giving their input. And also we would want to be able to get this out, so that people can see it in advance and have time to think about it. But since that's really not an agenda item for today, I don't think it's something we could go into a lot of detail discussing, because it's not on the agenda.
Is that a weird census block?
Yes, Chair, this one here crosses the canal there. So it probably should have been broken here. As you can see, this should have been a separate census block, but it crosses over. So if you include, I'll highlight it here. If you include this that census block, you're going to have to include ones nearby it too, in my assumption. I wasn't sure how far out on the coast it should go either. I mean, it's zero population here, but for sake of straight lines in the district, you know,
What was the population within that area?
sorry, which one, Chair?
Within the Panaeva, the new area that you had it on?
All of these here.
Yes. Two. It's a little over 4. How come the overall range was added on for? How come the overall range was off for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just because of the total. Yeah, let me look at that again. Because I think it's calculating our total percentage that we're, just still beyond that 10% when we calculate it all together.
I see.
Some of them are really close to the number, right? But we have a couple that could have slight adjustments, and then we've got 2 that need help. So we're gonna have to make a tough decision here and pushing some of 6 further into 5 then. And we had a map that was the Fern Acres area. So I'm just gonna see what that looks like here. That does bring down the numbers quite a bit closer together.
Head over to Council 7. Bring that 150. No, there's no connectivity unless you go from the bottom.
Yeah.
Do the 142. Okay, that brings it down to,
Council 7 is 4.7 under, and Council 6 is 5.38 under.
okay. So we're still in, within that deviation.
Yeah, let me
5.99.
just, do you mind if I run it quickly? I'm just curious what it says now after we've made some drastic changes there. So we're within the maximum deviation check. But overall, we're still kind of over 10% total between, and it's showing those larger numbers. So Council 5 is still over, and Council 6 and 7 are under. But so together, it's going to be over 10% of a change.
Commissioner Bath?
What was,
Mr.
what was
Lopez.
your rationale to do that change to Council 7? Because you made the number, the negative number larger. What were you trying to accomplish?
I was trying to get it to negative 5.99%
Oh, you-
deviation.
oh, worse off, okay. And for purposes of.
Ensuring that it gets into the
Six?
deviate, yeah, into 6, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Bath,
I'd like to try something. I'd like to move the northern border of 7 into 8, and then the northern border of 8 into 9, and see, and give each of those districts about 300 extra people. Well, don't exceed over 100 people per district if you can. So raise the negative of District 7 to maybe plus 100, and do the same thing for 8. If you would, please. I'm just trying to see, I think the word overall was used. I'm just trying to see if each district to the north and around, coming around, gives a little bit. If we could resolve this. My concern is that when we get to District 1's southern border, and the unyieldingness of that Wainui thing, which I understand is only based on about 50 people in a couple camps. So I don't know if the commission's willing to do that. I just wanted to make a request and see what would happen with the numbers. I yield.
Mr. Lopez,
Yeah, I object to that. We've already talked about freezing 8. And we've spent so much time, we're running out of time to try these abstract changes. So I personally object to going down this hole. Thank you.
Commissioner Bath?
Ms. Bath,
Yeah, Mr. Lopez, you just said you used the pronoun "we" decided. Who specifically from the commission made that decision? You said we made the decision. I yield.
Mr. Lopez.
Okay, yes, it came from the chair earlier. He said, as far as he's concerned, we could freeze District 8.
Commissioner Bath. Oh, did you yield?
Yes, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Ms. Bath.
Yeah, so Chair, I'd like to revisit that because I didn't hear, I remembered Mr. Lopez saying he'd like to freeze 8, and I can definitely see the value to that to his district. But I don't recall the rest of the, any of the rest of the commissioners saying that they agreed with that. I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Bath. Is there any objection from the commission to make these changes that Ms. Bath is requesting?
Yes,
Mr. Lopez.
I object. Yeah, it's purely in the interest of time at this junction. I've got 30 minutes to deliberate further on this. And we're simply out of time. We've gone over and over and over.
Commissioner Bath.
Ms. Bath.
Mr. Lopez, I can understand if maybe you have something else you need to do today. I would support you doing it. I am committed to not rushing through this process and doing everything that we can if it means reconvening. I'd just like to give that a shot. I think that Puna, we owe it to Puna. I yield.
Chair Cosso.
Is that
This is
Ms.
Diana
Ms. Millen Lacy?
Lacy.
Thank you.
I was going to suggest, in order to avoid debate in this manner, I think the preferred way would be for a motion and a second discussion and then a decision. If there's just dialogue between two members about should we or should we not, it's the cleanest way to address these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Millen Lacy.
Chair?
Ms. Bath.
Yeah, I move to unfreeze the frozen District 8 and look at making an adjustment to the northern part of District 7, and to do that with the northern edge of District 8 and the eastern edge of District 9. That is my motion.
Motion's on the table. Is there a second?
Commissioner Akamu, second.
Mr. Akama, second. Is there any discussion?
Chair Commissioner Akamu.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Akama. Mr. Akama did second. Is there a discussion?
Yeah, Chair. I'd like to add a few comments, if I may.
Mr. Akama.
I definitely understand the time crunch, but I believe that's the process that we should go through, and we have taken a lot of time to try to accommodate, taking a look at different changes in Puna and Fern Forest, et cetera. So I do support us taking some additional time. I do realize that our time today may be short and perhaps we would need to reconvene, but I do support making some of these changes and seeing what happens. I do agree with Commissioner Lopez. It does seem a bit redundant because we started this morning doing this and we had our version 1.2 and then we sort of got stuck. But I do support taking the time to go through this and taking a look, and that might help myself and even perhaps Commissioner Bath really see that, you know, other compromises may have to be made. So thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Akama. Any other discussion? I would also note, Mr. Akama, I don't think we should reconvene. We're just thinking about the logistics regarding getting these maps printed, getting it out to the 12 public hearings, also considerations for the newspaper. So there's a lot of things that, you know, it's kind of riding on this. So any other discussion regarding the motion? Mr. Kalko, please call the roll.
Commissioner Louis,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoshino,
I'm a little confused as to what we're voting on at this point.
So Ms. Bath created a motion in order for us to go through the west side of the island and then come up through the north side to readjust the deviations.
Do we have a time constraint on that?
Well, we're going to lose one commissioner here at 4:30. I don't know how everybody else's schedule is going to look like. But I imagine if we start losing commissioners, then we do have a time constraint. I would say about 4:30.
With some reservation, I'll say aye.
Commissioner Ani,
Aye.
Commissioner Yadao,
Aye.
Commissioner Bath,
Aye.
Commissioner Akamo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez,
Nay.
Commissioner Eustace,
No.
Chair Castle.
No,
Chair, you have 6 ayes.
thank you. So let's go back to the maps for 1.4. Miss Bath, can you tell us what area that you wanted to change?
I think that District 7 and District 8 commissioners would know their areas best and make those adjustments that would be needed to bring the District 7 numbers up. Our goal is to bring the District 7 number up.
Point of order, Chair.
Mr. Eustace.
That was not the motion made. The motion made was to have Commissioner Bath adjust the numbers. Thank you.
Ms.
Okay.
Bath, do you have any suggestions for the maps to be readjusted?
Okay, I could do that. I'm sorry, I guess I should have. Bear with me, my computer just shut down. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Ms. Louie?
No, just could you expand the map so we can take a look better? I do
Chair-
feel it would, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no.
Sorry, Ms. Louie is on the, has the floor. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it would be helpful if the commissioners for 7 right now and then for 8, because we did go over a number of them, if they could kind of summarize what we tried to do rather than reinventing the wheel here.
Ms. Bath, you have the floor next.
Yeah, may I please have the numbers for 7, 8, and 9 now, what the deficits in those districts are?
Council 7 is currently on the map on the screen, which is working doc 1-4. It's the iteration we've recently been working on. Council 7 is 4.7 below. So that's short 1,044 residents, which is a total of 21,188. Council 8 is short by 0.81%. That's for short 179 residents for a total of 22,053. And Council 9 is below by 0.58%, which is 130 individuals for a total of 22,102.
Thank you. So I'm just going to read back those figures. Thank you for giving them to me. It's kind of hard to see them on the screen here in Hilo Chambers. District 7 has an extra 1,044 people. District 8 has an extra 179 people. And District 9 have 130 extra people. Is that correct?
That's incorrect, Commissioner Bath. Those are all negative numbers.
Yeah.
Those are all negative numbers. Okay, thank you. Great. So, bear with me because I don't know your district, like you don't know my district. Looking at the boundary, to the right of Hawaii Belt Highway, take the 374 census block Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. I need to move up. Okay. From the Hawaii Belt Highway on the left, take the that whole little clump of census blocks, the one, I believe it's 255, 187, 210, 28, 95.
What is the
133.
roads you're looking at?
I'm looking at Alihili Lani Drive, is it? The lines are right over Hana Place. I cannot read some of them. Let me make it bigger, maybe that'll help. Okay, there we go.
Are you, Ms. Bath, are you in the right map?
Oh, you know what? I'm not, because I don't have on my, how do I bring up on my computer what we've been working on? I can't, right?
You can, it's 1.4. It should be under the County of Hawaii's shared plans.
Okay, let me,
So it's a shared map. It reads 11/29/21 working doc 1-4.
thank you. It's a shared map.
Ms. Bath, can you yield for 1 second here?
Sure can, of course.
Yes, Louis.
Oops. Yes, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes, we can.
I guess I was just feeling like looking at this again, each, if we move up, it's going to be like each one has to take from the next, and like first 7 will be too small, will be even smaller, and then 8 will be even smaller, then 9 will be small. So we'll come back around, and I feel like we're going to end up in the same place in that 5 is going to have to give up people, but just from a different direction. So that's what I'm feeling at the moment. I'm not sure this is going to work.
Commissioner Bath?
Ms. Louis, do you yield?
Yes, I do. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Bath.
Yeah, that's precisely the goal here for District 5 to give up from the lower portion of their district and not give up. They've already given up a lot of, a third of their district. Although I do understand that I really appreciate District 6 support of this process. And I've been really trying to look at that specifically because of his understanding of the situation and the support. If this is going to be a problem for all of the commissioners, because it seems like the commissioners' hearts aren't into really doing this for the intent that I want it done. And so as difficult it is for me, I'm going to withdraw my motion and yield to you guys.
I'm sorry, Ms. Bath. The motion can't be withdrawn because we voted on it and there was a majority that had voted for it.
Okay, so I make a motion that we not move forward on the actions of the previous motion because I do not feel that the hearts of all the commissioners are into it. And so I would like to make the motion to not move forward on the previous motion.
Motion's on the table by Ms. Bath to withdraw the other action. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lopez. Is there any discussion?
Yeah.
Ms. Louis.
I just want to know from Stephanie, like, what was your final, like, by moving around the whole island, what was your expectation or hope? Could you just say that again so I'm clear? I yield.
Thank you,
Thanks
Ms. Louie. Ms. Bath.
Thanks for asking. Yeah, as I started at the beginning of the meeting today, I saw that there was room for adjustment and compromise. If we started from Ka'u and we moved up and around, and it was going to be 2,050 possible votes that just needed to be adjusted. And it was really doable. It was going to take compromise and change in each of the districts, which is what I think we all want to do, is work together and compromise. However, it didn't seem like that happened. My goal was to try to do that again, but I do see a stalemate at the line of District 2 and District 1 because of 3 camps that have testified that they don't want to be affected. And the result of that is that communities in Upper Puna are being affected, big chunks of communities, because of a few, maybe 52 people along the Wainui border. And so I just wanted to see if we could get those 2,050 votes to give to Ka'u, and they would be coming from the other districts. And then District 5 would do their part, and District 3 would do their part. But it does not seem like the hearts of the commissioners are wanting to do that. And there's nothing that I can do to change hearts. So that was my purpose and my reason. And I wanted to do it this morning, but it didn't happen. And I can see that it's not going to happen. I yield.
Ms. Louie.
I just wanted to be clear, Stephanie, that I never said that I was not willing to move the boundary of one down to Wailuku or Wainui. That is still under consideration and may in fact come up. But as you've pointed out yourself, it's not enough votes to really, it's not enough people to really affect what happens below that in Puna. I guess I might not be on the motion, so I'll yield.
Thank you, Ms. Louie. Mr. Eustis.
Thank you, Chair. I take objections to the accusations. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, Chair Casal.
Mr. Yoshina.
I joined Mr. Eustis because I don't think it's only 55 people. As you say in your districts, you have a number of people you want to help. Well, I want to help 55 people. So to make them the bad guys is unacceptable to me. I'm not here to make anybody a bad guy. Okay, so let's be clear. It's not the Wainui Avenue people or the Wailuku River people. I mean, we're all here trying to get to some level of agreement. So when you start pointing to a specific group of people and saying, or a commissioner and saying that I am the cause, I take umbrage with that. Now, you know, you said it publicly. So I'm willing to accept the responsibility, but I would hope that you do not characterize this as, oh, Hilo did not want to give up 55 people. That is so far from the truth. And I take real exception to your comment about that. So I yield.
Chair.
I'd like to make a reminder to all commissioners when they do present themselves. I would just ask that they do so and address the chair and not the individual commissioners as much as possible. Another thing is, let's be polite here, and let's avoid questioning motives, focus on the issues and not the personalities, and listen to the other side. And then we can have
Commissioner
a
Cosell?
constructive conversation. So I
I'd like,
heard Ms.
I'd like,
Bath first, and then,
I'd like to call the question.
yes,
I
Ms.
don't
Louis.
feel like, I'd like to call the question.
Okay. Mr. Kalka, please call the roll.
Chair, right? Is this on the call on the question? that
There's a
Ms.
call on
Louise
the
told me?
question for the motion by Ms. Bath, seconded by Mr. Lopez regarding to withdraw the last action. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Louis,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoshino,
Aye.
Commissioner Ani,
Aye.
Commissioner Yadao,
Aye.
Commissioner Bath,
Aye.
Commissioner Akamo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Eustace,
Aye.
Chair Castle.
Aye.
Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you, Mr. Kalka. Okay, we're going to move back over to 1-4, which we currently have up on the screen here. We still have a deficit. We have a positive and a deficit, correct?
That's correct, Chair. We have a positive in 3, 4, 5, and a deficit in 6 and 7 of substantial value. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Eustace. Commissioners, is there any motion into considering the changes into the map? Is there any motions to make any changes to the map? Or for consideration?
Chair,
Mr. Lopez?
I see that all the districts are within the acceptable deviation. How about the overall deviation?
I believe that Council District 5 is at 7.13% deviation. We need to get it to 5.99.
That's your goal, to get it to 599?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. All right, then that's what we should work on. Thank you. I yield.
Chair,
Ms. Bath?
I think it's important for the morale of this commission for me to clarify that the reason that I made the statement about the Wainui line was because I spoke with the commissioner from that area to clarify what the issue was along that line, the reason not to. And I asked him about the particular camps. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to know about the numbers of the people. And he couldn't answer the question initially, but I think he was the one that told me it was about 52 or 54, something like that. And all along the discussion was about these 3 camps. And so that was my rationale for revisiting that. If it was only 54 people, if that was the testimony that he was repeatedly brought up, that's the reason why I was looking at that area and the possibility of moving that line. Since then, he said that there's more to it. I publicly apologize to you, to Dwayne, and to any other commissioner if I have intentionally or unintentionally offended anyone. But I do see that there is room to move in the other districts. I don't think that's going to happen, but I just wanted to clarify that my intention has never been to offend or to blame. I yield.
Ms. Louis?
I think there is room to move, but not in this iteration. So I think that what we're going to have to do now is to put some people from 5 into 6 and kind of let the chips fall at the public meetings and then take it from there, because I don't think we want to be here till 10 o'clock tonight. And those are the two districts that have the deviation that's a problem. So I think we should just go for that for now and know that we will make changes later. I would also suggest that perhaps Stephanie and maybe other people too can work on a different map that starts in a different area, because there probably will be other changes that need to be made, but I don't think we can make them now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Louis. Is that I just want to make it a motion so that way we can concentrate on that specific target that you're requesting.
Okay, I make a motion that we keep our focus on this map as the one we're going to present to the public by changing 5 and 6 to make them come into the correct, close enough so that we're under the 10% deviation.
Our motion's on the floor by Ms. Louis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lopez. Any discussion? No discussion. Mr. Kalka, please call the roll.
Commissioner Louis,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoshino,
Aye.
Commissioner Ani,
Aye.
Commissioner Yadao,
Aye.
Commissioner Bath,
Abstain.
Commissioner Akamo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Hustis,
Aye.
Chair Castle.
All right.
Chair, you have 8 ayes.
Thank you, Mr. Kalka. Mr. Hustis, if we can go down into between the borders of 6 and 5.
Okay, so I'm just gonna see what the numbers look like here. There's some connectivity with the road that comes off of the Belt Road here. This is the Kapua Road, is that correct, commissioners? That's the one that residents of Fern Acres use to access their subdivision, if I'm not mistaken, as well as Glenwood. But on the Hilo side, I think it's Kapua. So for the sake of seeing what the numbers look like, I'm just gonna test and see what this looks like here. Give me a second.
Miss Louis, is that your hand up?
I just wanted to hear from Commissioner Kamu again as to where he thinks it should best be taken.
Yeah, Chair, this is Commissioner Okamo.
Mr. Akamo.
I think we're sort of going, we're really going farther into Puna than, I had wanted us to go, because even from the last redistricting commission, there's definitely a strong sense of those people. But along the lines of what Commissioner Louis was sharing, I think for purposes of getting a draft done, knowing that it's not perfect, I would be okay with moving the Council 6 district further into Mountain View. But I do anticipate a lot of voices and concern from that. So I do think it will be something that we're going to have to really come back and refine specifically for this community here. Also, interestingly, Council District 6 as well as Council District 7 is about the same number of residents below the ideal. And so as we start taking more from District 5, it'll balance out District 5 and 6, but District 7 will still be about 1,400 people or so under. So that's just, something else that I was thinking about as we keep pushing more into Council District 5. But I think where you have the line right now is reasonable. It makes sense in terms of the connection and what roads people use to kind of get into those communities there. And I know it's going to cause some frustration in the community, but then it'll be our job to do the best that we can, taking those comments and try to work together and compromise. We do have to stick to our 10% deviation. That really is kind of the absolute bar that we need to stay within. And so if that is the reason why we need to make some of these considerations, I think that as long as we're open and transparent about it and let the public know our reasons for our final choices, I would be happy if, if this is what it is. So I support the line where it is there to add more people into the code district. Because if you look at it now, we're 190 over. So yeah, we got really close, and even Council District 5. And Commissioner Hustis, I appreciate your great work with these maps. I yield.
Chair Bath?
Ms. Bath.
I mean,
and
Miss
Mr.
Chair,
Lopez.
Commissioner Bath, sorry. I don't want to be chair. Just for purposes of clarification for the other commissioners that don't live in Upper Puna, there is no connectivity. If you can zoom back into what used to be Upper Puna, all of those subdivisions that you've been, slicing off and adding to Ka'u, just as a matter of information, there is no connectivity between any of those subdivisions from Highway 130 to from Highway 130 up to Volcano, other than through Hawaiian Acres. All subdivisions have to go out to Highway 11 to get up into the next subdivision. So those lines that you see are not roads that connect subdivisions. That doesn't exist. It is in the Puna Community Development Plan to have that happen, but in the past 12 years it hasn't because we don't have voice. I yield.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes, thank you. I want to go back and revisit District 7. I think Commissioner Casal took a hit unnecessarily in the strong interest of compromise to assist this discussion. And now that I see that District 6 is in good stead, I think he should reconsider maybe taking back the census blocks that he gave up to get to the negative 1077. I mean, it doesn't seem right to me that he gave up that population to try to help, and then it got fixed in another way. And that was down in the south of District 7, just below Captain Cook, that you had made those concessions.
Yeah.
So I'd ask you to reconsider, please. Thank you for offering them.
Chair, this is Commissioner Akamo.
Mr. Akamo.
I support what Commissioner Lopez just shared, and if he would like to put that in a motion, I'll definitely second it. I yield.
Thank you for that. Yes, I move that the census blocks that District 7 gave up to assist District 6 earlier be reinstated into District 7. It'll make District 7 in better position, and it won't affect District 6 that much.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Lopez, seconded by Mr. Akamo. Is there any discussion? Without hearing any discussion, Mr. Kalka, please call the roll.
Commissioner Louis,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoshino,
Aye.
Commissioner Ani,
Aye.
Commissioner Yadao,
Aye.
Commissioner Bath,
Abstain.
Commissioner Akamo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Hustis,
Aye.
Chair Caso.
Aye.
Chair, there are 8 ayes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kalka. Mr. Hustis, if you can go down to where the Captain Cook area is. I think there's the 3 census blocks there. And then the, and what does that deviation show?
Chair Cosso?
Ms. Mellon Lacy.
Yes, just as a point of order, according to your rules, and this is the rules on voting, which is section 6C, no member shall refrain from voting unless excused by the chairperson or is otherwise excused by law. Unless a member is excused from voting, silence shall be recorded as an affirmative. So I'm not sure Ms. Bath is aware of that, but if she doesn't wish to vote, she should seek your, you excusing her from voting.
Chair,
Ms. Bath.
I previously abstained on another vote. I wanted to be put down as a no on that one, and I'd like to ask that I had been excused from that vote and this vote.
Okay. Let the record show that the last 2 motions that was made would be excused by Ms. Bath versus
Thank you.
the abstention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification, Ms. Mellon Lacy. The motion did carry. Mr. Hustis already took out 2 census blocks, 3 census blocks.
Yeah, the
Thank
3
you.
here, Chair.
And then if we can take the 175 North Malka of Ali'i Drive. And then there's that one there.
Good.
And I think that should level it out a little bit. Yep.
And Chair, I did catch one block up here just for the sake of clarity that had 9 individuals.
Yes.
It's pretty far, Malka. I don't know if you're familiar with the connectivity up there and what that would be.
There is a roadway that gets up there. I think it's the Judd Road, and it actually connects to the backside of Walalai. I don't know them specifically, but I think they would probably more be in the Council 6.
Council 6, even though the connectivity might be an issue for them.
Where's the roadway?
So Belt Road is down here in Kealakekua. Do they travel Malka up there?
I think it's behind. Yeah, okay. Council 7 would be fine for this because the roadway goes Malka of Konawaina High School.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of curious about that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Make sure they're all, I know they're removed from the population center, but make sure they're in the same district if they're connected to others nearby. Okay, so that adjustment puts Council 6. Once again, we were taken from Council 6 to go to Council 7, so it evens it out a little bit more between those 2 on that border. So Council 6 would be negative 1.32, which is short 293 for a total of 21,939. And Council 7 is at negative 2.52, which is short by 561 for a total of 21,671. And for clarity's sake, I can just show that we do pass integrity checks now. So we're falling within the deviation.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes, I move that we accept this map as the draft map to put forward from the commission.
Motion's on the table. Who seconded?
Commissioner Ani.
Thank you, Ms. Ani. Seconded by Ms. Ani. Any discussion?
Chair, I asked to be excused from the vote.
Thank you, Ms. Bath. Any other discussion? Mr. Kalka, please call the roll.
Commissioner Louis,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoshino,
Aye.
Commissioner Ani,
Aye.
Commissioner Yadao,
Aye.
Commissioner Akamo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Chair Caso, Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Commissioner Eustace,
Aye.
Chair Castle,
Aye.
Chair, you have 8 ayes.
Thank you, commissioners. Looks like the draft plans have passed. We will work with the elections office to get these printed. Friendly reminder, the planned hearings is December 14th and the 16th. I believe in the last meeting, we've discussed what time it's going to be at. It's at 6:30. The 14th is going to be at the West Hawaii Civic Center. 16th is going to be at the Hilo Chambers. And then is anybody from the election staff available? Actually, this is not even part of our agenda, but that was just an announcement. Ms. Millen Lacey, am I allowed to ask questions whether or not the prints would be made available?
Sorry, Chair Casso, I believe that that was discussed at the last meeting. So I think you could ask the elections office to provide a brief update.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if we can have the elections office, just give us a very, very brief update here.
Hi, good afternoon. Pat Nakamoto, Elections Program Administrator. Yes, we did go out and get estimates on the maps. So we are looking at getting maps for each of the libraries that have been identified around the island. And we will also be printing out 8.5 by 11 handout maps. And those will be able to distribute to the public or at the public hearings. I don't have my glasses, but the cost for the poster board maps will be around $570. And the 8.5 by 11 will be about $100. So they will be, well, now that the plan will, you folks approved it this afternoon, we will try and get it to the printers probably either by tomorrow or Wednesday. And they should be available for the public hearings. Any questions?
Ms. Louie?
Yeah, just in terms of the ones for the public hearings should be on poster board, but the ones for the library don't have to be. I went to look at those state ones and, that way you can pick them up, move them around. And anyway, that might save you a couple of bucks, but.
Yes, that is our
Not-
intent to take them out how the state delivered theirs, rolled up. We're going to get tubings to put them in to protect them. We will have one map that will travel with us for the public hearings that will be on poster board.
Great.
Any other questions for the elections?
Well, yeah. Commissioner Bath?
Ms. Bath?
Well, there is some concern about the public hearings just being in Kona and Hilo because of a lot of the changes in Puna, and the people that don't have gas that are in poverty are not going to be able to come to the public hearings. And we had the same challenges during the community development plans where people could not weigh in because of their circumstances. Is there any way that flyers can be given to the schools and having the children at least bring them home? What options are there for outreach to the isolated communities?
That's a decision you folks would have to make
Oh,
and
okay.
tell us what you want, you know.
Okay, so that would be.
We
an-
heard that, you know, the larger maps should be at the libraries,
Mhm.
and then we should have the other maps available at the public hearings. If you folks want these 8.5 by 11 maps in other areas around the island, then you need to let us know.
Thank you. Okay. So that needs to be an agenda item for our next meeting? Okay. Okay. I'd like to request, Chair, I'd like to request that that be an agenda item for the next meeting.
No problem. Thank you, Ms. Bav. All right, any other questions for elections? All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Nakamoto.
Okay, you're
Um,
welcome.
As far as Ms. Mellon Lacy?
Yeah, Chair, just as a brief announcement, and we'll consider this an update from the last meeting. We have an update on the costs for these, but the maps and the ads. And I believe a decision does have to be made prior to our next meeting date, which I believe is the 9th.
Thank you, Ms. Mellon Lacy.
Hi, this is Corey.
Hi, Corey.
Hi. Okay, I got quotes from both newspapers, Hawaii Tribune Herald and West Hawaii Today. And the quotes that I got is for half a page. If we ran them on the 2 Sundays, we're looking at about $13,000 in black and white. And to run them for the Sunday through Thursday would be about $20,000 color. And that's half page only. The full page, we're looking at 25,000 or 30,000. 25,000 running it only on 2 Sundays, and then 30,000 from December 12th through December 16th.
Thank you. Ms. Louie.
I think that color is important because it's really hard to see the districts on a black and white paper. I'm not sure about the length of time, so I'll leave that to other people.
Thank you, Ms. Louie. Corey, how much, I guess, how much is left in your current budget? And then based off of the commissioner's one, how much do we need to allocate to you folks?
Okay, the current budget as of I think it was an attachment to you folks through an email. There was $72,146.90 left.
And that's with the printings that you guys already have, or you guys gonna do, or?
No, that's not including the printings, and that's not including, we're still awaiting invoices from the last public hearings. Go here. So an estimate, okay, November, about 600. We're waiting for one invoice for that.
Okay, so give or take, we have about
60.
68,000 or 70,000.
Yes.
Okay. And your request, Ms. Louie's request for colored on the paper, how much was that?
Okay, that would be depending if it ran only on two Sundays or from the 12th through the 16th. What, you know, what duration you're looking at?
I guess, what's the both that you're suggesting?
Okay, for half page color would be 19,000 for the
Two
for the
Sundays.
5 days.
Oh, 5 days.
And the full page color would be 30,000 for the 5 days, 25,000 for the 2 Sundays. And then the half page would be for the 2 Sundays, it would be about 13,000. Wait, hang on. Yeah, about 13,000.
Thank you. Ms. Louis,
Could you clarify the 5 days would be what days from the 5th to the 9th or?
No, from the 12th, the Sunday before the hearings, through the December 16th. So December 12th through December 16th.
Okay, that doesn't seem like it gives people enough time to plan, so I'm not sure because the 16th is the second hearing. I don't know. Well, what do other people think? So the 2 Sundays would be 5 and 12.
Yes.
And is there a possibility of running it 5th through 9th instead of 12th through 16th?
Okay, that I would need to check with the newspaper on what their deadline is.
Okay.
Right now.
Chair.
Ms. Louis, you yield?
Yeah, I yield.
Mr. Eustace?
It's definitely good to run it on the day of those two. I would agree. And just so that people see it that morning, it's a last minute reminder. But I'm not sure, because, looking back, we allotted what, 20,000 of the 75, or at the time we thought 75 for advertisement. So these would exceed that 20. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ms. Louis?
I make a motion that we do the color ad from the 12th through the 16th. I'm convinced by Commissioner Eustace, and that we expand the amount that we can spend on this because we have enough in the budget. So I don't know if that can be included in one motion.
All right, Miss Louis, I just want to make sure I got this right. It's the half page, the 19,000 for 5 days,
Yes, color.
colored. Okay. And what was the dates that you're in your motion?
From the 12th through the 16th. And that we expend the $30,000 on it, even though, or whatever it is.
So you want to raise the current budget for elections to 30, or you want to add in 30?
Well, I just want to
Right.
cover whatever it costs.
Okay, thank you. I just trying to get clarification. Okay, so the motion is on the table to add an additional cash for the elections division. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Yoshina. Is there any discussion? All right, Mr. Kalko, please call the roll.
Commissioner Louis,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoshina,
Aye.
Commissioner Ani,
Aye.
Commissioner Yadao,
Aye.
Commissioner Bath,
Aye.
Commissioner Akamo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Eustace,
Aye.
Chair Castle.
Aye.
Chair, there are 8 ayes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kalka. Is there any other unfinished business we need to discuss from the elections or Corp Council? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Kalka, have you heard anything about the Facebook page or social media?
Yes, we'll be using the social media platforms to send out and post notifications about the public hearings and continue boosting them also.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so that being said, I did discuss with Mr. Kalka whether or not we should have a meeting right after the public hearing. So I wanted to hear back from the commissioners on whether or not we want to wait a whole week and a half, or do you want to do it, that Friday after the completion of the public hearings. Mr. Kalka, what date was that?
So Chair, so just to reset, as it stands now, we have our next meeting scheduled for December 9 at 9:30. The public hearings for December 14 and December 16, and then the next meeting after that for December 21. We had looked at a possible scheduling of Friday, December 17 as an option, which is the day after the second public hearing.
Chair,
Mr. Eustace?
is the suggestion that we maintain and keep the 9th and also add the 17th, or is this, are we switching the 9th to the 17th?
I think that's what I'm bringing it up, but whether or not we want to do both, or do we want to just do the 17th?
There may be some business, if I may, there may be some business to discuss. We've set on a map to present to the public. There may be some other business that we can discuss on the 9th. I'm just throwing this out there. Commissioner Bath had something she wanted to add for our agenda for the 9th. There could be other issues we talked about, like the census block issues, like other stuff that we can prep ahead of time, and also maybe revisit places around the island and look at other possibilities leading up to the. Because I'm just saying this because if we do the 17th, which is probably a good idea, and the 21st, which is I think our last scheduled one at the moment, those are probably going to be pretty full in terms of taking the comments and testimony and then making an update. So in my opinion, I think we could hold both if that's okay with everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Eustace. Miss Louie?
Well, I can't make most of the 17th. I have post-op doctor's visits, but if other people want to go ahead, that's fine. I do agree with Commissioner Eustace that we keep the 9th for other things, and that we should be kind of ready to still tinker with these maps, given that we are predicting some pushback. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Louie. Any other commissioners regarding the 17th?
Chair, this is Commissioner Akamo.
Mr. Akamo?
I was just wondering what else would we be putting on the agenda for December 9th? Because I know we would have to get that agenda out to the public relatively soon. So just wondering what other items we might have for our agenda for that day. Thank you.
We do have some unfinished business that we can discuss regarding the census blocks issues that we have to submit to the U.S. Census Bureau. And Mr. Eustace, you had some other points. Ms. Bath had a really good point, which I wish to bring up during our hearing on the 9th, as well as some just maybe it's probably more of a clerical day than it is a drawing maps type of day. That's going to be the second to the last meeting, third to the last meeting, if we put the 17th on.
Chair, this is Commissioner Akamo.
Mr. Akamo.
I did recall that Commissioner Bath shared about possibly reaching out through schools or through some other means to try to increase the public notice about these maps, etc. I was just wondering if we do make decisions about that on December 9th, that would only leave us Friday and then a Monday before our first public hearing. So would that be timely for us to consider additional distribution methods on the 9th? And would it even allow us to get any additional distribution methods out? And yeah, so that was my kind of wonder about that, because I do support what Commissioner Bath had shared earlier about wanting to try to reach out as much as we can to some of the areas in our communities that don't have the connectivity or does have, challenges with just making it to the public site. So perhaps an earlier meeting, earlier than December 9th, in case we need to make some decisions around just that specific issue of increasing our distribution, because I know the office staff might need some time to get things organized, et cetera. So my suggestion would be maybe a little earlier than the 9th, if possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Akamu. I appreciate the dialogue here. And Mr. Kauka, is there, based off of Mr. Akamu's request, is there any availability in the beginning of the week to move the 9th, December 9th meeting?
Chair, thank you. I'm looking at the chamber calendar, and for the week of the 6th, we don't have availability. It's a council week, so the chambers are being used on Monday the 6th, Tuesday the 7th, and Wednesday the 8th. We would need time to look if there's another option or alternative locations, but only the 9th is reserved right now. We also would need to post a notice 6 days in advance of that.
Thank you, Mr. Kauka. Ms. Louie.
Is it possible just to add to our old agenda item of outreach, which we did discuss as part of the previous meeting, this same meeting that took place last Thursday? Can we just simply say right now that we want these flyers made, as long as they're all being made anyway at the same time, so that, they could make more of those 8x11 flyers?
Let me just look at the agenda from last meeting to make sure that we're on. Is Miss Mellon Lacey still there?
Yes, Chair, she is. She's going through her materials.
Thank you. Thank you.
What? Trying to look and see.
Yes, Chair, let's see. Well, we had discussion of public hearings and establishing dates, times, locations, logistics, advertising, and outreach efforts. And given our tight timeline, I think we could take the liberty to consider this. It's not a major item. I'll ask Ms. Nakamoto to come up.
Thank you, Miss Mellon Lacey. So appreciate that. And then Miss Bath, since this was your point, I would like to give the floor to you.
I think it would be beneficial to send out flyers, preferably, I know it's expensive, but preferably color, so that people can see the various districts, and distribute them through the public schools and charter schools within the districts. How it's been done before is, for example, at the elementary school, they would give, the schools are kind of in tune with how many children are in each household, and they'll give it to one of the children, so there isn't a lot of redundancy within the household. So that's what I would suggest doing, having reams of them brought based on numbers to the schools. I yield. Oh, one more thing. I said the public and private, public and charter school, that would also include private schools as well. Yield.
Chair, I just have a question about that.
Mr. Eustace.
I just curious about that process and the logistics. When we deliver to schools, how is our target is of course our voting population, right? And is it just at the main offices that parents could pick it up from? Is that what I'm understanding?
Chair, if I may assist Diana Mellon Lacey.
Ms. Millen Lacy.
I suspect there's a bit more logistics involved because schools aren't going to just distribute anything without some kind of permission being granted. And I would suspect that someone would have to contact the various area complexes to get approval from the schools in order for anything to be distributed through them. And I don't know what kind of lead time or effort that entails, but you know, I don't think they would just hand out anything without some kind of clearance.
In the past, yes, we would need to contact the schools and get permission from the principals to have them, you know, distribute these forms for us. So it would be contacting the schools. And I know at the last check, because we do some voter educational programs with the high schools, there were 10 high schools. I have no idea how many elementary schools we have here in our county, or charter schools or private schools. So we would need to go and gather that information first and then contact each school individually. I guess we could try the approach of contacting the district office for each complex and see if they would get in touch with the schools and let them know that these flyers are coming out. But then another question would be, how many students are there? How many flyers would we need to take to each school? And then of course the schools vary in size as far as their student population.
I can see that we would need more time to do this. It's unfortunate that we couldn't have had that insight earlier. Yeah. How long in the past did it take you to get that permission?
The last time we did that was when we had the tropical storm several years ago. So we were talking about only, few schools in that particular area. So yeah, this one would be island-wide, so it would be.
So it might
You know,
not
but
be
I'm not saying-
it might not be feasible though to do it.
I'm
in
not
time.
saying it's impossible, I have the staff, I could ask the staff to try, we can give it we can make an effort and try to get this out, but I can't make any promises.
Chair Casso, if I may.
Ms. Millen Lacy.
I'm thinking that, there may be some informal ways of getting information to people that commissioners themselves could help with if they were given a stack of maps. And I'm thinking of things like laundromats, places, shopping malls where people go, stores may be very willing to make things available. And it would be places that people go to. That may be, and bulletin boards too. Many areas, shopping malls and things have bulletin boards where things could be posted. I mean, I think this would take work, so commissioners would have to be willing to help to do this, because you may know in your districts where there would be the most advantageous places, to do that. But I mean, some of the, local stores that people go into, and I would think people would welcome helping with that. I could be wrong, but I would think they would be.
We have in the past gone around the island and placed flyers on bulletin boards when we were doing recruitment for precinct officials. So, we have that information. We know where these bulletin boards are located in different areas around the island. So we could do something like that. That's easy to do. But as far as the DOE, I mean, we can try.
Commissioner Bath.
Ms. Bath.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We've done that in the past as well. With COVID, things are a little bit different because people aren't having their normal patterns of doing that. And I don't even know when the schools get out for a Christmas break. It might be, yeah, I don't have children in school anymore, but that might be an issue as well, catching them before break. So thank you for your consideration. I yield.
Ms. Nakamoto, has the elections office done every door direct mail?
Yes, we have done mail outs also.
Is that a more expensive option?
Yes, yes, very
Okay,
expensive.
just making, just checking.
Yeah, the postage is very expensive.
Okay, Ms. Louie.
Yeah, I'd like to just move that the election department, if we can ask the election department to put up the flyers on bulletin boards, I think that's a great kind of idea. A lot of, shopping centers and things like that, that rather than through the schools. Thanks.
Ms. Louie, your motion, what I think I'm concerned about is, we gave the elections office some funds. So I'm guessing they have about, we have about 40,000 left in the bank here. Do you want to give a specific number to allocate for the flyers?
Again, I don't really know what it would cost, but I don't think it would be that much. Maybe Ms. Nakamoto can say if they've done this before. I don't think it's a million places. And if it was like the 8x11 flyers, that's not going to be that much. I don't think. I don't know if I need to make it a motion, but it's just a request coming off of Stephanie's idea.
Chair,
Is that
Ms. Beth.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ms. Beth. Go ahead.
Just curious, how much would it cost to send a flyer to the whole island? Do you have any clue on what that might be?
Well, I can,
Bulk mail?
hold on one second.
Yeah.
Corey would probably be able to give you a best guess estimate on what.
Because did I
And-
hear $40,000?
And so are we talking about just mailing them out to registered voters? Because that's the only information we would probably have,
Oh.
addresses for registered voters,
Wow.
you know.
I'm sorry, you said that there was, you only have addresses for registered voters?
Yes, we only have information. So our mail outs are always to registered voters.
Oh,
So
I see.
that's the information we would have. But Corey and I are going to discuss this for a second. Okay, for the mail out just to registered voters would be about $73,000.
Thank you.
And that's just for postage.
Chair,
Mr. Eustace?
we can make a recommendation for the next commission to save all their money just for that purpose, maybe then. Thank you.
Okay, so we're still on the discussion with the flyers, and we have to figure out how much we want to do, where we want to go, how much it would cost. So I think to get some movement on here, we do need a motion in order to sort of kind of entertain this idea. and to make sure that it moves forward.
Chair, was that a motion to just for the elections to distribute flyers onto bulletin boards? Or,
I'm just, I need a motion in order for us to proceed.
I move that the elections division be designated the task of putting flyers up, colored flyers up on the known bulletin boards in areas where the public might get the information.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bath. There's a motion on the floor to have the elections office place some flyers on bulletin boards and whatnot. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Louie. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Chair.
Mr. Eustace.
I'm just curious of manpower, woman power, the capability to do this within elections division, if that's even a possibility. I feel bad about putting this on their office. Thank you. As a question to our elections team, if that's even a possibility to, I don't know that the staff and personnel you have to carry out such a task to go around the whole island over the next 2 weeks, week and a half, to do something like that.
Okay, I'm looking at the calendar. So our first public hearing is on December 14. Today's December 29. We need to have it printed. Yes, I believe we would be able to do that. To go around the island and place bulletin boards, but it would be great if we could get some suggestions from each commissioner in their district where they feel would be the best places for us to put these flyers up at.
Thank you, Ms. Nakamoto. I was concerned that it wasn't a possibility given the task you'd be burdened with there in the next 2 weeks. I could offer, I don't know the legality, but post offices are always a possibility, but I don't know that's a federal space. So I don't know if that crosses any sort of boundary there. Just trying to think of places people congregate or spend a little bit of time during their days other than shopping centers. And of course, I have no idea of all the different bulletin boards that are on the island in businesses or public spaces. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, Mr. Kalka, please call the roll for the motion that was motioned by Ms. Bath, seconded by Ms. Louie.
Commissioner Louie,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoshino,
Aye.
Commissioner Ani,
Aye.
Commissioner Yadao,
Aye.
Commissioner Bath,
Aye.
Commissioner Akamo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Eustace,
Aye.
Chair Castle.
Aye.
Chair, thank you. There are 8 ayes.
And I apologize. If you can mark for Mr. Lopez excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anything else for as far as announcements goes? Friendly reminder. Okay, Ms. Louis, go ahead.
Just that there is a state redistricting meeting. I believe it is this Thursday at 5, and I think it would be interesting for us to attend that as well as, you know, our civic duty. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Louis. I think there is, I just want to make sure that when we do speak in those meetings, that we're not breaking any sunshine. To having more than 2 commissioners there. So just a word of caution.
Wait a minute. Can I ask a question on that? I mean, this is about the state districts, not the county.
Right.
So why would the sunshine,
Oh.
we would just be there as private citizens?
Private citizens, yeah. Yeah, just clarifying and making the observation. Okay, so the next meeting is going to be on December 9th at 9 a.m. And other than that, I don't see anything else. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Hustis,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Yoshina. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Right.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 4:49 p.m.